First, my friends, something different for this show. America is in the middle of a huge teen vaping epidemic. A staggering 1 million youngsters picked up the habit despite never having smoked a cigarette before. And there are worrying signs that the UK is rapidly following suit. 14% of teenagers here say they've now used vapes more than once a week, which is over double the levels seen in spring 2020. And also in Northern England, this is unbelievable, 1 in 7 teenagers vape regularly. You might have heard about a new government scheme called Swap to Stop. This aims to get millions of smokers to switch to vaping. Now, advocates say that they are healthy and a better alternative to smoking. But what we want to ask tonight is, how much do we know about these vapes? What's in them? They cost as little as £5 and are often sold with brightly coloured packaging in sweet shops with flavours such as cookies and cream and bubble gum. You'll have seen all of that. But here's a shocking statistic. More than 41% of 11 to 17-year-olds say they buy their vapes from shops despite the legal buying age being 18. So my question tonight is, should we be concerned about our kids vaping? How safe are they? And my first guest has a story that everybody should listen to. Ewan Fisher says that vaping nearly killed him when he was just 16 years of age. The now 22-year-old spent 10 weeks in hospital and needed an artificial lung. He still suffers the consequences of this today, and he joins me now to discuss his experiences. Ewan, thank you so much for coming on Jeremy Kyle Live. The claim is that vaping nearly killed you, and the point of doing this tonight is to serve as a warning and to investigate. Tell us your story, my friend.
Evening, Jeremy. Basically, when I was, it was in May of 2017, May the 15th to be precise, I had stopped vaping a little bit prior to actually going into hospital because I wanted to become a professional boxer and try and uptake my career. So I was smoking cigarettes from quite young, I'll be honest. And then I thought that vaping would probably be a safer option for me, and I tried to change from smoking cigarettes to start vaping, and just went downhill from there, really. I was getting chest infections all the time, and my mum was always telling me to stop vaping, etc., because it was making me poorly. But as kids do, they don't listen to the parents. Well, some don't anyway. And it really went bad. I ended up on 2 different life support machines. I was in an induced coma, and I had 20% chance to live, actually. And on one of the nights in Glenfield Hospital, my whole family had to come in and say goodbye to me because they didn't think I was going to make it through the night.
I mean, that's horrific, and the important point of doing stories like this is not to scare people, it's to warn people. How old? You were 16. How easy was it to buy vapes, my friend?
Oh, it was really easy, honestly. I could go into shops myself and get hold of them, and it's even easier just to ask someone to go in for you, and no one questions it. You could probably be in your school uniform and still get a vape nowadays, and people they don't see the dangers of it, so they just think they're helping you out by going and doing it.
So no ID, a mate could go in for you. And when we talk about impact, your mum had to quit her job to become your carer. This was just before your GCSEs. You're now 22. Your dream, I guess, of being a professional boxer gone forever, if we're being honest. What would your message be to kids? And there will be plenty who think that, and this government scheme, Swap to Stop, is saying, smoking is dreadful, vapes are not. What would your message be, Ewan?
Please don't do it, really, because I don't want anyone to go through what I've been through. It didn't just affect me, it affected all my family and everyone around me. Like you say, my mum had to stop working, basically, to give me the care that I needed because I couldn't walk, I couldn't do day-to-day activities. It's just really hard now, so I just want to put the word out there, just please don't vape, especially if you haven't even smoked in the past, because there's no need to. I know the packaging and all the different flavours is so, attractive, but just don't do it. There's no need to.
Do you remember that moment lying in that hospital when your parents and family weren't there, when you suddenly realised that actually there was a chance that you'd lose your life? What goes through your mind at that point?
Well, it's horrible because you don't really think of it until it happens, and it's an in-the-moment thing, and then your whole body just collapses, and you know that when especially you get told that you've not got much chance to live, even though I weren't around at the time because obviously I was in the induced coma, it's just when I came around from it and I'm being told them sort of things, it plays with you mentally as well.
And in terms of today, your mental health, how has that impacted on that, my friend?
It's got a lot better recently because I'm keeping active, going to the gym, and I've got a good group of friends around me and a good family. But when it first happened, I was struggling really. When I was going to college and stuff, I was getting really bad anxiety. But no, I'd say it's getting better as the days go on.
Listen, you're a credit to your family and yourself, Hugh, and thank you so much indeed for joining us on JK Live. We're now joined by Hazel Cheeseman from Action on Smoking Health, of course, Ash, and the Director General of the UK Vaping Industry Association, John Dunne, who apparently I've interviewed before. Welcome to you both. Can I start with you, Hazel? That's a very, very poignant story, not to scare, but to point out to people. Seemingly teenagers, 11 to 17, 41%, OK, in this country. Are we heading towards the same situation as America? And is it not fair to say that these vapes are getting teenagers hooked on nicotine?
Well, there's a lot there. I mean, I think, first of all, the story that Ewan told, as you say, it's really powerful, but it is really unusual. I mean, there's more than 4 million vapers in this country. Ewan's story is the exception, not the rule. And the evidence that we have shows that vaping, when people are smoking, switching to vaping is much less harmful, and it should definitely be supported from that point of view. But in terms of whether it's acceptable to see large numbers of young people using e-cigarettes, absolutely not. I mean, Ewan's story is a really, extreme cautionary tale, and as I say, pretty uncommon. But nonetheless, we're talking about an addictive product, and if it's not as an alternative to smoking, as a way of giving up what is a really lethal addiction, if it's not for that purpose, then there's no reason to be using these products. There's no reason to be establishing an addiction in a different way.
If I can bring you in, John, for me, the issue is, and we talked there about how you legislate on kids being able to buy them in street corner shops, because I've done it. We did that programme before in the past, and there is absolutely, it's happening. And all this sort of packaging, we've got stuff on the screen. I mean, all of this it all looks very glamorous. The reality is not. I mean, Skittle flavour. I mean, is it sort of magnifying and trying to get away from what it essentially is, which it has nicotine in it? Is the packaging part of the problem?
Well, I think I agree with what Hazel's saying. No young people who haven't previously vaped should be taking up these products anyway. But I go out with trading standards all the time, and what we're finding is that while most retailers follow the rules, there's many out there that don't. And one of the things that we feel is getting in the way is there's very little financial risk in them selling to minors. The fines are only about £200 if they get fined. Trading standards will say, well, we fine them up to £2,500. I have yet to see a retailer fine £2,500.
What's the answer?
Well, we're asking the government to bring in fines of £10,000, for instance. But we're also asking them to bring in licensing of vape retailers and distributors. And part of that has to be robust age verification processes, because there should not be any sweet shops selling these. We see barber shops, pizza shops selling them. That's ridiculous. They're an adult age-gated product, and they should be treated that way.
How safe are they?
Compared to smoking, we know they're at least 95% less harmful. But nothing in this world is 100% safe that we do.
Why is that not safe?
Well, I'll
show you why it's not safe, shall I? Because I've done this already. This is £5, OK? And look, let me tell you, we've taken that, but watch this, right? That's the inside. Inside this is the liquid and a battery. All you people from the UK Vaping Association, you tell me where the filter is, because there isn't one. There is no filter, John Dunne. So these kids are sucking on a battery and nicotine fluid. That is the truth, popped up with a bit of flavour. No filter at all.
Well, first of all, they're very different than cigarettes. One of the reasons that cigarettes have filters is because there's over 7,000
chemicals. But vapes are supposed to have filters, surely. No?
Not necessarily, no. Most of the products that are made now are extremely safe. But one of the problems, I think, with these is that, if young people are getting a hold of them, they will use them in inappropriate ways. They're not designed for children. The other thing that we're finding out there as well is that there's products that have far too much nicotine in them.
Yeah.
That are,
nobody knows what's in them. Let's be perfectly honest. You can make them taste nice, but nobody knows the level of nicotine. If I can bring you back, Hazel, in. The other thing is this swap to stop, this government thing. That's taxpayers' money being spent to try and encourage people to go from smoking to vaping. Now, I've smoked and I've vaped, but I'm going to take the other side deliberately. Why should people who don't smoke and don't vape be paying tax to ensure that people don't take an addictive substance? I don't understand that.
Well, smoking is an addiction. It's an addiction most people start in childhood.
But it's a choice.
I would disagree that it was a choice. I would say it's an addiction that people...
Nobody forces you to smoke, though. It's a choice.
Is it a choice when you're addicted?
No, but to be addicted, you have to make the choice to start smoking.
And most people do that under the age of 18.
Is the government's new thing encouraging, this is my issue, that the situation in America with 1 million young kids is swapped to stop, then going to put 1 million kids in the United Kingdom on vapes that we don't know what's in? And you might say, but I absolutely maintain there's no filter, that's dangerous.
Well, I don't think the government's proposing to give 1 million vapes to people under 18. And they are proposing to look at things, they've got a call for evidence. I mean, the promotion of these products absolutely needs to be looked at. We must do something about the fact that these are so appealing to kids. We should put some higher taxes on these disposable products.
Well, I was going to say, would it be a good idea to put higher taxes to make them more expensive so that kids can't actually afford them?
Certainly on these disposable products, these brightly coloured disposable products that have been very appealing. A, they're not great for the environment. B, they seem to be very appealing and accessible to young people. We could make them more expensive through tax. That would be a useful thing for the government to do. But in terms of whether it's a good use of taxpayers' money to do the Swap to Stop programme, I would say absolutely. I mean, smoking costs the UK economy millions and millions, not just in what it costs in terms of healthcare costs, but also the fact that people aren't able to work, the benefits, sure. All of that together is massive amounts of money.
But higher prices, I would think, higher taxes to make them less accessible, and higher fines for thousands of shopkeepers who are selling them. You know, Ash and other organisations want the United Kingdom to be smoke-free,
yeah.
Right? But you're sitting here almost justifying smoking to vaping. We're not going to be smoke-free. If people are vaping, what's the difference really?
Well, the difference is the massive, you know, hundreds of people are dying from smoking today. They'll die from smoking tomorrow, they'll die from smoking the day after. Hundreds of people are not going to die from vaping today or tomorrow or the day after. That's the difference.
Just very quickly, both of you, great to have you on. John, 30 seconds. Higher taxes, less vibrant packaging and bigger fines, right?
I think higher prices, yes, but not through taxation. So one of the things that we're talking about is increase the tank size from 2 millilitres to 10 millilitres. Now the price goes from £5 to £15, problem solved from the pricing, and 80% less devices out in the marketplace.
But you will both agree that this is, yes, better than smoking, but there are many instances where this can be catastrophic. I appreciate you both being on. Hazel Cheeseman, Deputy Chief Executive of ASH, and John Dunne, Director General of the UK Vaping Association. Thank you very much indeed.